Preseason was a great week. Not just the weather, which was awesome, but preseason was great, mostly because of the familiar faces, I'm going to say. We had 29 returning players from the spring, which included 2 transfers that started with us in the spring, and just 4 new freshmen. So kids that know each other well, kids that I know well, plenty of experience. And they just came back. You could tell they had worked this summer. They were very motivated as a group. They've got plans. So we are just trying to stay out of their way. Yeah, fortunately, got a lot of those kids back. Some very productive kids from last year and even seasons before. Obviously, Emma Harmon back for her senior year. Had a huge year last year in terms of goal production for us. Britta Lagerquist out on the wing. Goals and assists for Britta. We expect more of the same from her. And Nat Merrick started all last year for us at the other wing spot. So she's still growing in her game and helped us out. Tori Stevenson came off the bench for us a lot last year. So she's progressed since being a freshman. And I think those were certainly 3 of our top scorers, I think, out of that group. So not a lot of adjustment we need to make up there. We need to get them the ball. So yeah, midfield-wise, I say definitely some new faces in there in terms of starting lineup, but still some experience from kids that have stepped up from sophomore to junior year, from junior to senior year. Erin Venus started in there last year, and she's solid again this year. At the holding midfield spot for us, we hope that Natalie Junta will be in there. We also have a grad student, Mariah Steffen, who's a capable midfielder in there. Lexi Zook, who will be a senior, hasn't started for us at all, but she's one that could vie for that position. Hannah Costa as a transfer is an option there. We can use her a lot of places. And one of our freshmen, I think, has kind of risen to the top in a midfield spot, in competing for a midfield spot in Marina Hahn. So it's going to be a new midfield. We've changed a few things in terms of how we're playing in the midfield, a little bit more defensive-minded. So we're learning how to incorporate our offense with that mindset. And but still an experienced group, an older, mature group that I think will grow as the year goes and will be able to get the job done. So last year we kind of made the switch from 4 backs to 3, and we lost 2 of those starters to graduation. So definitely some new kids with not as much experience, and none of us are all that experienced at the 3 back. So we're still it's still a work in progress. Carly Keller will be the leader back there. She's started for 2 years in the back and is again a great defender for us. Emma Daly is sort of targeted as our starting center back right now, which is new for her. She didn't really play that in high school either, so that's definitely a work in progress. But she's got all the tools to be successful there. And then the other outside back, Aubrey Shaw, played there some last year. Freshman Megan Tischler, who is a sophomore now. She has been playing very well. So not sure who that 3rd starter will be there, but we'll see. I think either way, it gives us a little bit of depth as well. Yeah, Courtney Lissman is back for her 4th year. She started for 3 years. So solid. Keep her back there. I don't have to start over with her. She knows what she's doing, and we're just fine-tuning a few things in terms of the new formation we're playing, in terms of her role as a more of a leader. So she's still growing, but I know what I'm going to get with Courtney. And then Maddie Mills, who was a freshman last year, is playing very well right now as a sophomore backup. So that's also helpful to know, like, if anything would happen, she's ready to step in. And, of course, we're preparing for the future as well. That hopefully she'll be ready to start in should anything happen, or is it next year, if it's next year. I'd say a strength of this team is going to be their drive. They want to succeed. They want to play great soccer. They want to do it in a particular way that represents what we're all about. They are bought in, and they are willing to work hard every single day, which makes my job really easy and really fun. They have things to learn. We are moving things around in terms of the style that we're playing this year, and that is it's going to take time. So we're really good at some parts of it right now. We are going to have to get better at some other parts, not just to make up for losses of what we don't have from last year, but just to kind of progress forward and get to that next level of competition that we want to be competing at a really high level and playing really good soccer. So it's a work in progress, but I love the way they're going about it. I love the work they've already put in this summer. I love the work we put in last week at preseason. It was super productive and very positive. The conference is definitely getting better. Games are more competitive across the board. It is no easy task thinking about preparing for those teams. I don't anticipate easy games in the PAC. I anticipate competitive games that we're going to have to learn how to win the tight ones. We're hopefully going to be well prepared for that. I think our preseason schedule is pretty comparable to what we're going to see in the PAC. I think the top teams, nobody gets to relax anymore. It used to happen that, maybe the top teams kind of were a shoo-in, but I don't think that's the case anymore. I think keys for us are, the biggest key is going to be continued growth in what we're trying to do, because it is new. People are playing some new positions. I have to continue to remind myself that they're not as experienced as we were last year. But I think just continuing to work hard, continuing to be open to growing in new ways, continuing to evaluate ourselves and what we're doing, and growing through the season, I think, is going to be a key. I think the hard things are going to come. Hard things are going to happen, whether it's within the team, whether it's outside the team, whether it's somebody else is just awesome that day that you play them. Can you handle it mentally? Can you gain confidence in what we're doing so that by the end of the season we're playing where we want to be?